space.
Welcome, Shantari.
Yeah, hi, Steph. Thank you so much for this invitation. It's been a while, and but there's never been time, distance has not ever kept our love and our connection together. So this is really exciting. Oh, all the years.
Like 2011, we
Correct.
did 11/11/11
Yes.
Earth concert at the Petersham Town Hall, and I remember reaching out to you. I don't even remember through Dave Stringer, Sacred Earth, through Sacred Earth Connection. We'll share some Sacred Earth music on this show, and through that connection, it's all coming back to me now, but I remember you just trusting in the vision that I had for that event and coming and just giving it your all and really holding the energy. I was talking to a girlfriend yesterday saying that I was catching up with you, and she completely remembered your presence at that event and knew exactly who I was talking about and remembered the meditation you led. And what a powerful event.
The biggest meditation group I've ever had.
Was it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What was the World Peace? That was the beautiful World Peace. And how many people were there? 200 people?
No, it was more like 600 people.
Oh, right. Well, there you go. I stopped counting at. And we have some beautiful photos. I still have some beautiful photos.
I don't have any photos. I have to have a look.
Okay,
yeah.
I'll send them to you. And everyone's holding hands, and it was myself and Ian Hacker was on the didgeridoo. And Kevin was there, Kevin James.
He was there.
As well. Yep. Yeah, because Kevin's I use a lot of Kevin's music in my meditation recordings with his permission. So, but actually, Steph, how we met.
Oh, yeah, tell me. Let's tell the listeners.
At the Mind, Body and Spirit Festival, I think it might have been 2010 or 11.
Yeah.
We're at the Mind, Body and Spirit Festival at Sydney, and I don't, how was it? It was either you were there to see Penny and Jethro, Sacred Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Penny,
was there.
Yes, Penny now.
Penny. I was there for Kevin James, it was one. We were sitting next to each other, and we just sat politely.
I was probably there for Kevin James.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And because I'm on the Central Coast, and I wanted to bring Sacred Earth to the Central Coast because there was no big Kirtan that came here.
Yeah.
So I had gone down there to meet them in Sydney, and you were sitting next to me, and we just.
Oh, I was looking after Sacred Earth because I was helping with their CD sales, and I remember. Yeah.
And I must have been there with Kevin, but it was one all the same.
Yeah.
And then I said I'm here for Kevin about getting him to come to the Central Coast to the Rhythm Heart.
Yeah.
For Kirtan and for an event, and you said I'm here with Sacred Earth.
Yeah,
it's oh, cool. And then we swapped.
Yeah.
I think that's when we sort of swapped or something. So, so I was holding the space here on the Central Coast from 2011 because I went back with Kevin James and Jethro and Prem on the date. So it was 2011. So
wow,
Sydney. So you were promoting Sacred Earth. I had Sacred Earth here. Kevin James, Dave Stringer, of course, and Guruvani.
I did Guruvani as well. You see, back then I remember the very first event I ever did was Sacred Earth.
Yeah, right.
A workshop with Deva Pramala Mitten and then Kevin James and then I did Deva Talasi, who is the reason that connected me. Yes. She's from Denmark, and so actually she's the reason that everything started. She was the very first event that we did, and we brought Kevin James's music in, and then it just continued. Dave Stringer, and Joe,
Yes.
And what a journey!
Amazing.
What a journey! And then there was Chris Hooper doing, Chris Hooper. I just connected with recently, and she was at that time doing, Mel Krishna Das and Sacred Earth as well. But then she sort of gave us permission to take that hat on and do Sydney and you to do Central Coast, which was really nice because she'd done it for so long. So there really is a lot of history that I think, we're talking like decades now. People don't. you know, or a good decade we're mentioning now, and people don't realize the history of how that music came to be available and accessible. You know, catching up with Dave yesterday, saying like taking it out of the yoga studios into venues, community centers. We were really part of laying that, you know, those stones down. Is that a good way to say it? You know, like paving the way.
Yeah,
And I don't think.
And here it was the Rhythm Heart, which was all music. So it wasn't even with Rendra, it was just all music, and it was not yoga here, but so it was more about the music community here to bring them here.
I forgot your involvement with that, because the person I caught up with yesterday was Ruth, and she used to work assisting at the Rhythm Heart with Lou, and then Lou came on board, and and Ren was here visiting the other day, and he's moving through a lot as well at the moment, and it's big.
It's been
We've
big.
all been through big stuff, haven't we? Which is what we're going to go in about you today. Because I was reading back, and I thought, you know, I feel like we have these like soul connections. Like I really felt like you and I had this beautiful soul connection, and then, as we said, 11 years have gone past, or 12 years have gone past. And now I'm reading and I'm thinking there's so much I don't know. Like there's so much that has happened since then, you know, and same, you know, catching up on each other's lives. But I always knew there was something inside you brewing. And so it's so wonderful to see you grounded in this connection with oneness. Yeah,
it's unreal. And actually my journey started, Steph, was
a lot earlier than that.
Together with how I got into the music scene. So my first introduction into sacred music was in 1998. So in 1991, I lost a daughter when she was a day old, and so that was an existential crisis for me. So that was like, you know, as you can understand, sent me on a journey that I never even knew existed. And so I did like the first 10 years of that journey of grief and bereavement and growth and enlightenment or awakening, and through practices, through Reiki, through the Tibetan lineage of Reiki, then yoga, Crea Yoga. Yeah. I was initiated into Crea Yoga in 1998, and oh my God, that's just another unfolding. So all of the healing modalities was so much in the first decade. So learning all the healing modalities, so Reiki, theta healing, reconnective healing, spiritual surgery. So all of the understanding the self as an energy body, a spirit. And so that was the first 10 years. And then in 1998, 99, I'd moved up to Queensland, up to the Gold Coast.
Okay.
And I was looking for a meditation group. So I saw this Gold Coast meditation group, and I went, this is pretty cool. I'll go along to that. And well, I've got there and thinking we're going to sit down and meditate, you know, lotus sitting, quiet sitting. And they started singing the Hare Krishna mantra. And I've said to my girlfriend, where are we? What's this? Are we in the wrong place? Anyway, so it was quite foreign to us, right? So back in the 90s, it was quite foreign to us. And so, but we went back a week later because they had beautiful food and beautiful, really kind, gorgeous people.
Yeah.
And then it just became something we just let ourselves, you know, we surrendered into that and just kept on going along. So we started off, you know, just like tapping our foot and, okay, this is a bit weird, you know, and then clapping our hands and then getting moving, you know, and they'd start off with the slow Hare Krishna, and then they'd get right into the party.
Yeah, ecstatic.
And ecstatic, and it was just amazing. And so that was just, you know, something that I would never even have known to look for. So on the journey of seeking and searching for, you know, who am I? Why am I here? What is this all about? Then I never would have thought I would have gone, you know, looking in that sort of place. So that opened a massive doorway for me, and my heart just like the chanting, the singing, the music, the sound, the community. It was like, oh my God, like, thank you. And I knew, like, all the time, I'm always like speaking to the spirit of my daughter, show me the way. Where do I need to go? And show me how it is that I'm meant to connect with you and be with you and know deeper and deeper, more vaster and more expansive. I want it all. Show it, lead me everywhere. So this is one of those moments of weirdness, right? So then I've come home from that year on the Gold Coast, and then it was so then I think the internet was only just out. Googled Kieran, and then I found KD. Oh my God, I found Krishna Das. It's like, is that like he was like the Elvis of Kirtan, right? So I was like, I found Krishna Das, and that was it. That was like, oh my God, does it get any better than this, And then of course then Krishna Das led me to find Dave Stringer.
Oh, Dave Stringer, yeah. Jai Utal.
Yeah. Was at that time it was Dave, because I was watching how, for me, I'm trying to compare it to rock music.
I was going to say Mick Jagger.
Versus Dave was like Barnesy.
Yeah.
Dave was like
so
Jimmy
true.
Barnes.
Yeah.
Krishna Das is like Elvis. David Pramal and Mitten are like the Carpenters.
Oh, we are going to share. Yeah, we're going to share so much mixed music right now in this show.
Well, and I was just like, oh my God.
I love that description.
I'd always been into music. I was a DJ. I was a DJ in hotels and in pubs and down in the Riverina. So I've come out of this world of, rock and R&B and just everything and into this world of sacred music. And it's like, oh my God, thank you so much. And so it's actually it continued from there. I now have my own little Kirtan band, myself and my partner and my friends. So I have a harmonium, and I've been taught by Mike Cohen. He's another great American Kirtan leader. And so I did all that online through COVID. And so,
did you ever get to flight school with Dave Stringer? I think you did, didn't you? With us, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you came and attended one. Yeah.
The one flight school at Sydney down at
Govindas. Oh, Govindas, okay.
Yeah. And that was just wild. That was unreal.
Yes.
It was just, and the friendships and the connections, and because that's when I was organising Dave's tour that year.
Yes.
And so I managed his tour that 1 year in Australia. But yeah, it's like, ever since then, it's just been, and it's everywhere now. It's sort of like yoga's on every corner, but so is Kirtan and so is Kirtan, sacred music. And it's like, and this is so healing. It's so important for an aspect of for our consciousness and for the awakening.
Oh, I was going to say the awakening,
of humanity.
Yes.
And I have myself. So I teach. So I'm a transpersonal, soul-centered psychotherapist, and so I teach my own meditation system, and yet in my teachings I always share with people how important I have, like what they call the 4 pillars of awakening. So the awakening process and the 4 pillars is a philosophy, a timeless wisdom, having something that's not any religion, but it is based in timeless wisdom. Meditation for awakening, not just for rest and relaxation. Self-inquiry, having some coaching and some psychotherapy to help people through trauma, just moving into alignment. And then the 4th pillar is just community. It's dance, it's retreats, it's fun, it's music, and so the 4, I see the 4 pillars of this are 4 very imperative and integral pathways for those of us all, awakening to the truth of our nature as soul, as love. Yeah.
And the truth is love, isn't it? Coming back to that.
Indeed.
Connection. Yeah. Well, there's so much in there that I want to dive into. Because I really think it's good for the listeners to understand, taking it back. I've experienced some big trauma recently, and I understand how it can really sideswipe your life. And what I really take from you is back in, I think you said 1998, was it, when you lost your daughter?
91.
Yep. We have a choice in those moments. We have a choice either to choose to be in judgment and victimhood, or we have a choice, and you'll share with the listeners in your own words, or we have a choice to choose to take that experience and then to step into, as just empowerment from that rather than victimhood. So what was your experience? Because I think I was understanding you didn't have any belief before that. Like, you were actually saying you were an atheist. And I think it's really important for listeners to really understand. We're not saying we come in and we have all this connection and we're like enlightened. Like, it's something that, we have a choice on these many crossroads that so many of us are being challenged with at the moment. In that moment, to look at it in two different lights, yeah?
Yeah. I wouldn't have known that there was a choice even then.
Yes.
Okay, so if I stay raw with that, this is really good because it's a great foundation for. So, yeah, I was an atheist. My father was Catholic, my mother Presbyterian. So we weren't brought up with any sort of, foundation of spirituality, scripture at school, all that sort of stuff. So when I lost her and there was like nowhere to go, and the churches would come in and I'd tell them to go away, if there was a God, what God would, let something like this happen. So I was really, really, really rebellious and against any religion because none of it was settling in for me at all. And yet there was here it is. So it was a choiceless moment. There was one day when I was putting the clothes on the line. I was in Cootamundra down in the Riverina. My two younger girls were at school, and I was in this empty void of bereavement. The pits of hell, literally. And I remember putting my clothes on the clothesline, looking up at the sky and going, like, it was a magnificent day. And looking up at the sky going, like, if there's a God, you better. Now, I don't know if we're going to blank this out, but if there's a God,
we're effing.
If there's a God, because it had to be that raw. If there's a God, you better fucking show up. Oh, good.
You better fucking show up, and I've been saying that a lot at the moment. You better fucking give me a miracle right now. Divine intervention.
Correct. Yeah. So that's actually what it was.
Yeah.
And I was.
So you did speak to something, Robin. Sorry to talk over you, but you did reach out to something.
Something I didn't believe in.
Yeah. Okay.
So I notice that a lot now with people too, and I go, oh yeah. So it's a given, right? There's this innate knowing. There is this knowing, and so it's like, because you're in such despair. So if nothing else works, I've got my antidepressants, I've got my vodka, I've got my cigarettes, I've got my sad music, I've got family, but this is really fucked. I don't know. I can't survive. If I didn't have my children, I would have been
checked out.
Checking out. Yeah, absolutely. And because the pain was excruciating, the emotional emptiness, that hole, the depth of that. Well, and so, I think that's where naturally, and even for those who experience loss, it's really wonderful. The processes of grief and bereavement are, acceptance and betrayal, betrayal and acceptance and surrender and all those sorts of things, coming into terms with things. And that's where I was at. I'm like, you know what? Nothing else is working. And it wasn't even like, and this is bargaining. If there's a God, show up. And if you fix this, I will give my all to you. But I don't believe in you. So we'll just worry. I don't know. It was nothing else to think
what
about.
happened? Yeah.
So then the same week, I was watching Oprah. That's when Oprah was on every week.
Yeah.
There's no internet.
With you?
There's no internet.
Yeah.
And there was a lady on, her name was Betty Eadie, and she was talking about her near-death experience. And she was talking about her book called Embraced by the Light.
Sorry, I was going to say Embraced by the Light. Yes.
Yeah. And because back then, right? So it was Shirley MacLaine, and so these were the sort of books that were around, Embraced by the Light, Shirley MacLaine's stuff. And anyway, so I bought her book, and I on the phone on the wall, and hello, and I dialed it, and got the Adia bookshop in Theosophical Society in Sydney, and bought the book, and they sent it to me. Well, that was it. The moment I read her story, everything just seemed to lift, and I've gone, what? So there gave me a moment, like a glimpse of hope. Yeah, it was a glimpse of hope. And then I read in the back, once that started, once I said, if there's fucking God, you better show up.
Yep.
Then that's it. So I would tell everyone, pray to that fucker.
Yep.
It's like, really, give yourself, surrender to the mystery, because it is a mystery, and we can get truly locked in and shut down and contracted about the religions. And I'm coming from that place of total atheist, and never was I ever going to think that I would be doing what I do today. So I read in the back of this lady's book, how do you understand what it's like to have one of these amazing near-death experiences?
Yeah.
And she said, you practice meditation and yoga. You can do healing modalities like Reiki. And I've gone, oh, they all sound pretty cool. Didn't know what they were, Then from that, I went to the newsagents the same week.
Got a pack of cigarettes? No.
Yeah, to get my cigarettes next to the bottle to get my vodka.
Yeah. It makes it real, yeah.
And some steak and lots of Panadeine lots of codeine to get rid of the headaches that I got from smoking and
wow,
drinking.
Yeah. Let's paint the picture real now.
Yeah. And then I picked up a magazine, and it was psychic, modern psychic or Australian psychic. I forget the name of the magazine.
Yeah.
But I picked it up, and I've gone through the pictures, pages, and in the back it's got, are you looking for a spiritual awakening? And I've gone, sure am. And I've looked at it, and I've gone, hang on, that phone number is familiar. That looks like it's back in my hometown. So I was at Cootamundra or Hardin, and the phone number was back here on the Central Coast. And so I've gone home, and I've rang this number, and this gentleman answered the phone, and he said, I'm a Reiki master, and I live at Yamina. And I went, get out. But that's where my family live. And he says, so do you visit here? I went, every other weekend. So I booked in to do Reiki.
Okay.
And again, that just was a game changer. I didn't know what I was there for. So again, when I'm able to see, I didn't go to do Reiki to understand, even to do any hands-on healing. I went there because I saw the word spiritual awakening. And I don't even know what happened. I just did it, walked away, and I went, well, that was pretty cool. Prior to that, I'd had a dream. So between calling out to God and this happening, this is weeks, I had a dream that I was walking down a dirt road. It was like I was in India walking down a dirt road, and this man walked in front of me, and he handed me a picture, and I looked at it. It was a black and white picture of an Asian man, and I've gone, okay, cool, put it under my arm, kept on walking. And I woke up, thought nothing of it. And then I'm sitting at the altar of this, doing Reiki, and here's this picture of this same guy that gave me the photo. And it was a picture of Mikhail Yusui, the founder of Reiki. And I'm sitting there going, what? This is weird. This is getting weirder. Good weird. And this hasn't stopped for 30 years. Every day, every moment.
You're guided.
The blessings are profound. People would say, always when people will say, I'm so sorry that happened, and I love that, I really appreciate the condolences. And I just say, you know what? Even though it was the worst thing that happened to me in my life, it has also been the greatest gift and blessing that I've ever received, because I have helped so many people who lived through much more horrific experiences than even I. I mean, how much more horrific can it get losing a child? Is your child being taken by the hands of another human being through murder or through loss in other ways? It's like, oh my God, I'm so humbled. And the humility itself is the greatest grace and gift I could, and it's priceless. And the greatest gift out of it is the humility that I've received from such a big experience.
I just got a message there. I feel like going from there, talking about loss, there was a beautiful sharing that you shared about nothing can be lost other than your perspective of loss, like your perspective. You said like there was love letters that you were sharing. Can we go in a little bit about loss and now how you view loss and how we can help the listeners with that? Yeah.
Okay, loss. Oh dear. So when I was experiencing the depths of hell, the dark, contracted, fearful, how am I going to live for the rest of my life? What God would do this, all the betrayal, all of the pain. There was this, my mind at the time, my brain, my ego, it had no neural pathways. It had no pathways to go to for death.
Yeah.
So when there was no pathway built for the experience of loss, except for the loss of boyfriends, the loss of a pet,
money,
yeah, there was no pathways for my mind, my logical, relative mind to go to. So knowing that if we could, the ego that edges God out, the ego saw the darkness, the grief and the bereavement as hell, as pain, as lonely, so lonely, so empty. And that is the darkness of the grief, right? Now,
that's true. Yeah.
What I know now is a lot of the work that I do is I help people go to that place of the primordial abyss, but to know that that is the primordial being itself. It's a little bit like 14 billion years ago, there was nothing.
Yeah.
And that primordial womb of creation is this timeless, endless, vast, black void. Now, understanding that now sees that as the most closest thing to the divine I'll ever get, and love it. So like, I love going into this deep abyss, into this emptiness, and because that's where I return with union with the divine. Now, so I could see where my mind was at the time was that the void is bad and wrong and horrible and fearful, versus the awakened mind, which is the void is timeless, endless, and it is the endless presence and essence of peace, palpable, profound peace. And everything that arises from that peace is just love and light and love, versus I'm a mother, I'm a victim of the world, things should have happened, this shouldn't have happened, da, 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 da. So how I see everything now is that, and I understand that everything arises from that womb of creation, the primordial being, God, source, whatever you want to call it. So from that infinite, timeless void 14 billion years ago was nothing. And from that beautiful dimension there was a moment, a pinprick of light, and that light came into creation, came into being, as we would see it, or the scientists will see it, as the Big Bang. And then with that, there was the separation from that point of light. There was then a separation occurred from there into all millions of other sparks of light, which straight away, I'm separate from you, you're over there, I'm over here, so therefore we're separate. So separation from knowing that we are at one and whole with the divine comes from the moment that the Big Bang actually spread itself out. So
that's true, yeah.
So for me, oneness and moving back into wholeness is actually remembering that we all, come from that point of light. And that's where absolutely everything in existence today is from that same point. So then realizing that everything arises from that. So even today, so in our modern contemporary world, we still see you and I separate from each other, or the lounge, or the chairs, or the door. It's all over there. It's outside of ourselves. And so it's only normal that the mind, the ego, will interpret that something can go. So everything that we can see, everything that we can see in the world of content, consciousness, the content, one day our computers will break down and we'll have to throw them away or recycle them, and we'll be getting new computers. Our glasses, one day our glasses are going to go. The body's going to go. So this is where Buddhism talks about permanency.
Detachment. Oh,
yes. Yeah, permanent. Yep. What is permanent and impermanent.
Okay, yeah.
So what is impermanent is all the objects, the things that we attach ourselves to and identify. Yeah. So we attach words, and we even with deities and even with gods, like they all are personifications of a thought of what love is, or a thought of what strength is, a thought of what courage is, a thought of what peace is. So even the deities are personified images, but like our thoughts come and go, our bodies come and go. So everything in the world of content of consciousness, from that moment, that pinprick of light became content in form, then everything from that moment is what is impermanent. It will come, it will go, it will live, it will stay for a while, it will die. That's the laws of creation. Now, so it's only going to be normal that we experience a perception of something that keeps us comfortable or is going to go. And when it goes, we call it loss.
Loss.
Yeah. Instead of creation just unfolding, doing its thing, doing its dance of creation. And that when we actually can move into an understanding where we know that who we truly are in our highest and most purest essence of being is the primordial being itself, the awareness in which all things come, stay for a while, and go. They are coming in and out of our awareness. The awareness itself is nothing. Everything else is an object. Awareness isn't an object. Awareness just is an observing presence. So when we know that our true nature is awareness, then we can't experience loss. We will watch the comings and the goings.
Observe.
But we won't take it personally. We will still, when our loved ones pass, we'll still have tears of just the separation of the field, the energy fields. And then, we're going to miss that person because they brought us so much joy, but at the same time, so those tears, the tears that we cry, when someone or something ends or finishes or leaves us, the concept of loss is just love. Like what's happened is that object of attention's gone. So it's actually the object it's now impermanent. It's now gone.
Mm-hmm.
And the place it's gone to or returned to or is the field of big love, big love, you know? And so what we realize is that then we have to align ourselves and attune ourselves with the big love in which our loved ones are now swimming in the ocean of big love. So when we attune ourselves to that spiritual dimension of big love, which is timeless, formless, endless,
limitless,
then we remember that that's the truth of my being. That's who I am. It's all around me. It's within me. When we move back into union with that true nature of being, then loss is no longer experienced as a victim that it has had something taken from me that I'm attached to as my source of happiness, my source of love, my source of happiness, my source of joy, my
like I
source of...
need that person in my life, and then when they're gone, you feel that lack of, and that's like almost your feed to that avenue to love, for instance.
And that's what we grieve, because we think that the love that one presents, when the love, once we come into full alignment, so full alignment with the divine is what a prayer is. So just for the record, because I studied a lot of Aramaic teachings of Christ consciousness, of the teachings of Jeshua, and
I want to talk about your visit from Jeshua. Yeah, we'll go there.
one, So he would say that the word for prayer in Aramaic is shalu. And so shalu just means alignment, bringing us into alignment. So when we actually remember that the love that we think is that we've lost in an object outside of ourselves, when we remember that we are never, the love of the divine never leaves us, because we are that love. That is the essence of our soul, the essence of our being. So, and we're breathing that love. We're breathing it all the time, like how we started when we came into this chat, right? The breath is the carriage of the soul. So the minute we bring our attention back to the breath, we're bringing our attention back to our own divine being, our primordial being. So we take a big breath, and everyone's doing all this breath work, and it's because you're just inviting your true nature of the divine. Let's all breathe really fast. It's like, yes, let's do that. But it doesn't have to be anything special. We just have to remember that our breath is the carriage of our soul. And our soul is spirit, which is energy, which is light, which is the Big Bang from the creative primordial being, God, which is the observing witness of unconditional loving presence. So when we put our attention so simply for a moment, we don't actually have to have a cathartic experience, this gentle turning inward and just taking a breath, remembering the breath is the breath of love. I breathe that breath of love. It is with me all the time. So love doesn't leave anymore from that object outside of myself. It shifts, it moves, it changes. We still can cry. We still feel, that we're going to kind of miss that person in our life. And that's just natural human, connection. But there's a different, no longer move into the real deep despair of grief and bereavement. Love comes, stays for a while. We enjoy it. We enjoy the taste and the blessings of that beautiful beloved. And then that beloved leaves, and we know that the body's finished or the job's finished, but that
the relationship's finished. Yeah.
Relationships finish indeed. But that love remains. The love of the divine never leaves. People come and go within that field of love. The love itself, true love, pure love, divine love, agape, love does not leave. It is always here. And all we have to do is remember to turn our attention, have that little mantra going on in our heads, and breathe. And so when we attune to the breath and we do move into Shalu, into prayer, and we see prayer, so prayer is not actually speaking to a God outside of myself.
Yeah, I want to say, what is prayer to you? Yeah.
So prayer is not, dear God, thank you for all that you give to me. I actually need my bills paid. Will you please pay my bills for me? Because I want to go. I need to get a new car. So blah, 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 blah. Pray to something outside of yourself is one more time saying that the divine, the God, the creator is something that is out there.
Outside.
And because that's what religions have done.
Mm-hmm.
So true prayer, as taught by Jeshua through the Aramaic teachings, is Shalu, which is alignment. Just align with that. And that's all he said. Let us pray. Let us breathe and attune to our union with that divine, with the divine. So just when we turn our attention back on our breath, it is a prayer. So we're just praying just by breathing. So the prayer, this alignment, this conscious alignment with the divine is always every breath we take. So we're praying constantly, ceaseless prayer through every breath. Because the breath is what aligns us and calls us back into that alignment with the divine. As the breath, the carriage of the soul. Soul is God. God is light. God is love. I breathe the breath of love. So the same would go for joy. No, this person's going to leave me and I'm not going to be happy anymore. Where am I going to find my joy? It's like same thing. Or it's just anything. How am I going to find this that I think is in this object? Oh my God, I've lost my diamond ring. You know, oh, that diamond ring. What does that diamond ring even mean to you? What is it? How does it identify with you as a person? And why do you think you need it to identify with that thing that the ring is? It's just like, it's all insane, crazy stuff, right? And and a lot of this comes from the point of separation, which is our trauma responses.
I was going to say, where does trauma come in? Because is it okay to ask this question? You know, because I find in some conversations I have when people are not able to let go of a partner, for instance, and that's a physical thing when the partner's gone. It's a physically gone, that connection, that, you know, sexual energy, all of it is gone. Where do you find that some people can get stuck in the trauma, and what can they, because that's a trauma of abandonment or
yes,
you know,
loss and abandonment. That's why, as I said, in the 4 pillars of the awakening process that I share, is that one of the pillars and the most imperative, one of the integral and imperative points is self-inquiry, which is finding out where is it that there is this ongoing pattern and habit that says love leaves.
Yeah.
And it will go back to, and so to be able to be helped, to be supported with that is where a psychotherapist can come into play. Not always a psychologist, but a psychotherapist definitely. And especially,
what is the difference, Robin? I actually don't know.
Psychologists are more clinical, and they're more about the mind and helping people still with their challenges and their problems, and still identify their trauma. But a psychotherapist is more personal centered. It's more about the deep, intimate relationship with yourself as that one that is in loss. And for me, because I'm a existential or transpersonal psychotherapist, with that's more soul centered, which is about, I'm going to help you find exactly, not only in this lifetime, not even past lifetimes, like there's not even the past lifetime's not even relevant because it's here occurring in this life now again. You know, that source, that moment of separation. Now, the first moment of separation occurs 14 billion years ago for everybody. No, not one person on this planet gets away with their original point of separation occurring with that moment, and then the Big Bang, and then the particles of light, you know. So that's more, quantum, I guess.
Mm.
And then it's the moment the soul chooses to embody on the earth plane. So the moment the moment the soul embodies from the earth, from the realm, the spirit realm, into the earth plane, and then from the womb at birth. So then we have birth trauma, separation from mother. So it's always separation from parent.
And so in one of those separations, there may have been some trauma that the psychotherapist can go in and align.
Yeah. And then it can be, then you were born, taken from the mother, and then it just can be a lot of things. So being able to, and once that's found, then to support and to understand. So every time then we go into a reaction about anything, it's like, we can find that moment and
catch it.
So it's really, really, really important, because the joy, the love, the playfulness, the bliss, the gratitude, like all of that is the essence, it's the fragrance of what the divine is. So we can never, ever be experiencing, we are never, ever a victim of the world that we see. We are all here as souls, waking up, and to remember that we are to wake up to the truth of our being, which is love, and to make that love visible and to be the voice for that love.
I remember this you wrote, I hope there are days when your coffee tastes like magic, your playlist makes you dance, strangers make you smile, and night sky touches your soul. I hope you fall in love with being in love or being alive again. And I felt that was very much on par of what we're sharing now, because returning back to love, which is what you've written about, is back in the start, is that returning back to love. And if we can all experience that in this soul, like in this human experience, game changer.
And it's even in the words, so returning back to love, the book's called Return to Soul, right? Sorry.
Have you got one?
Return to Soul.
To return to soul, yes.
Return to soul. Returning back to love is sort of like saying that it's somewhere that has left us, and we've got to get in our car and travel back to it. The essence of loving divine presence is always here. We move away from it.
We have the separation. Yeah.
Yet it's always forever now. It never leaves. We split through identification and conditioning and
perception.
The ego, we split. Yet it never, it's always here waiting, awaiting. It's just like love awaits on our return, but love has never left us. We just leave it. So even having to go back to it is sort of like, it's somewhere that I've got to go to get to. And this is where a lot of the practices, I've got to do this practice. If I do this practice, then I'll become enlightened. If I do, then I'll go and do this workshop, then I'll be enlightened.
Such an important conversation, because I love how you share that you did so many different modalities, and then it got to a point you're like exhausted everything, and then you had a point where you just were like, what now? And that's the first time where you got in touch with
Jeshua.
Sorry to stumble
Joseph.
my words.
Jeshua and then Joseph. Jesus, son of Joseph.
As I was saying, Jesus. But that, and I find that is a very common journey that we go to kinesiologists, or we go to psychics, or we go and study meditation and then yoga teaching and then rebirthing, and then we can go on. Like it's like, forgiveness and so on. And it gets to a point when you're like, okay, which one am I going to grab on now? Because the trauma's coming up, And ultimately it's already there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's already there in the seat of our soul. And if we just, I think one of the best tools I've introduced into my life is to just introduce meditation every single day, no matter what is occurring. And I do want to touch on that with you on meditation, because I'd love to know what your view is, because there's so many guided meditations and you know, Dr. Joe, then again, that's a whole nother conversation, meditation. Where I think what I'm understanding from you is you got to a point where you were actually just sitting and actually just being with the breath. And so how can you get to that? Do you find most people need to be moving through guided meditation, or can they just sit in that uncomfortableness, that stillness, and find their connection to the divine slowly through that? What was your experience with that? Yeah.
So I had definitely come to the place of exhaustion. Read every book, done every dance, clapped, jumped every drum, but with the blessings of meeting everybody, of course. So I'm not playing that down at all, because it's sort of like all of the modalities are like a gentle invitation. That's like they're holding our hands slowly to get to know, you know. But then it was like I came to the end. It's like I'm just exhausted.
I'm tired.
There's nothing left to do. Nothing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I actually was practicing. I wasn't actually meditating so much then, but I was doing Crea Yoga.
Yes.
Now,
I never heard of Crea Yoga.
You hadn't?
No.
Oh, right. So this is from the lineage of Paramahansa Yogananda.
Okay.
And which, anyway, somewhere for you to go and have a look.
Yeah.
So Kriya Yoga was not about the asanas. It was not about it was not about any of the typical yoga traditions. I was invited by strangers when I'd moved to the Gold Coast. I was teaching Tibetan Reiki up there, and I was invited by some strangers to come to a meeting, and they said, "I'll wear white," and I went, "Okay." So it's a bit weird. I wear white when I teach Reiki anyway. So I went along to this meeting. There was like 12 people, and it was like, this is weird. This is a bit cultish. Anyway, the story to that was it ended up being Crea Yoga, and it was an invitation by the community elders who were working in the industry. Well, it's not industry, right? But I'm helping people.
Yeah, I understand.
That's what it is and isn't. Anyway, so that was Crea Yoga. So I trusted again in that, because that was not something I was looking for. And I've gone, okay, so now Taylor wants me to do this weird thing. So I did Crea Yoga and got initiated into Crea, and then came home. Oops, excuse me. And got initiated into Crea. So then I was back. So this is all kind of meshing in the last 30 years, right? The last 20 years. And so Crea was just with breath, a few asanas, but mostly breath and Krias on the Kundalini spine, up from the base spine up through, right? So that was my meditation practice, which actually results in just remaining then in a state of very deep abiding stillness, near altered state, sort of near an altered state dimension. So what happened is I'd stopped everything and I was doing Kriya Yoga, and that's when I was visited by the spirit of the Kriya Yoga masters and by Jeshua, who I've been running from, like, Christianity, get out, don't want to have anything to do with you. So I'd been running every time Jeshua was in the Tibetan Usui Reiki lineage, the Tibetan lineage. Jeshua was in there, and I've just gone like, what's he doing here? This is Tibetan. Go figure. I was like, rebel. Go figure. And then with Kriya Yoga, same thing. It came in, and Jeshua was one of the masters of Kriya. So anyway, he visited me, and that is another big story.
It is a beautiful story.
It's in my books.
Yes.
So the meditation, it is especially a meditation that can take you into those altered dimensions.
Into the void. States. Yeah.
Into the void. So Yes. So like what Joe Dispenza does.
Yes.
Sort of. Yes.
Because what
definitely.
I guess what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
you know, I have done Dr. Joe, and you can reach that
Yes.
space where you lose all sense of,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
But how can you bring that into, I guess, I don't want to go too deep with the listeners, but like, can you what I guess my question.
You've got to have a tool that allows you to move into that state at all times,
That's
every
it.
day.
That's
Your
it.
so that's your shalu, that's your alignment. So what happened is, from this visitation from Jeshua, I ended up, he said, I'll come back to see you. And I went, okay, again, really resistant. He came back and he says, you'll know when I come back. And I said, well, I'm not going to go to church. I'm not going to read the Bible. It's not my book, not my building. Don't worry.
I didn't write it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't write it.
Yeah.
And then exactly a year later, I was sitting at an event in Sydney, listening to this man talk about yoga and his spiritual adventures. And then at the end, he said, I was meditating one day and I was visited by the Spirit of Jesus. I'm like, what? You know, I'm not a Christian. Get out of here. And I'm sitting there going, what? Like, that's what happened to me. So I spoke to this guy, and it ended up being, my life unfolded from there as well. Then I went into studying deeply with my teacher, my spiritual teacher, and that really brought everything into completion. It was like I needed the philosophy of this ancient wisdom teaching. I didn't just need the healing. That's what Jesus did. He touched people. Yeah, got that bit. And then it opens up all your psychic senses. Yeah, got that. And then there's the Crea
How to
Yoga.
hold it. Or
Yeah, and
there's how to hold it. Yeah.
The Crea was the alignment.
Body, yeah.
But this was the timeless wisdom. Anyway, so in 2004, I went on a pilgrimage to Israel. And again, I don't know if it's in Return to Soul, but it's in my second book, where I was at Masada, up on the mountain Masada, and I had so my first transmission was with Jeshua in 1998, and then the second transmission was on this mountain Masada, and I just felt I just felt like everything in existence it's like everything picked itself up and poured itself into my being.
Wow.
And I was like shaking. My teacher came up, what's going on? And I said, something's, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, in a surrender space again. Just breathe and just open and receive and breathe this in. So I did. I returned back from Israel in 2004 and the end of 2004 into 2005. And then I started going, I had nothing. I wasn't worried about, I wasn't doing any teachings, Reiki, like I just stopped everything.
Rebel.
Chop wood, carry water. I ring up my friends, my kids going, Mum's back, let's have a barbecue. Don't forget to bring the vodka. And it was like I'd come back into that place. I wasn't
still
smoking.
Numbing it. Yeah.
And then out of just nowhere, I was woken up for 3 weeks, 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 nights a week for 3 weeks. And I was just receiving this ridiculous download from the void, from primordial being, from the void. And I had nowhere to go. It was telling me, I will teach you, you will be shown the way to be able to then teach this to others. And of course, it has ended up coming up. It's called the Inanna system.
Yes,
right?
I've got that written. And grounded consciousness, I am presence.
Yes. And so the Inanna system.
So this came through you from 2004.
It came through me in 2004. So as I'm writing the second book at this stage, then I was also able, and as I was re-editing, doing, because this has been written three times. And then, of course, I was able to link some of the information of Joe Dispenza and Eckhart Tolle, and so I put them in as references. I'd already done 4 years at university, so I was kind of I had to do that as well. Like, why am I at university? I don't want to be there. I left school. I went to school and left school in year 9. Anyway, so there's all coming.
I love that you shared that, but because it's constantly, you know, you're being shown your purpose or your path, and then it's like, no, I'm going to go study some more. I'm going to get some more tools in that box. You know?
Yeah, and that was like getting my brain. Like I was all empath, healer, love and light. It's like academia, referencing, research. It's like, I was kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
But of course, at the end, I can see why, because, you know, there's been a lot that's come from that as well. And so with that, there's been points I could bring in to actually back up evidence. Now, I also went and had an EEG.
You were saying, tell us about that. Yeah.
So I went and had an EEG done myself. I know that that Joe was doing it.
Joe does that, yeah.
So, but I was doing it to the Anana system. So what the Anana system does, so when you're asking about like, what is it that you can do every day, is like, that's what this has come through as. So the students who practice this, it's something that you literally can do any day, anytime. You can do it for 1 minute or you can do it for 5 hours. And what it does, it actually stops, it charms the ego out of the way, and it brings you back into total and complete alignment with the divine. And it's an inward approach. So it's like a transcendental meditation practice.
Okay. So
it actually, and it's yours. It's not something you have to listen to. So if you're out and your phone's not working, you've got no electrical things to use, it's like, this is organic. This is something that you can use.
You don't have to put something on and play it. You can, once you know how, you can do it yourself. Yeah.
And so
it's really important.
It really is. And because of the way that our brains have now been programmed through social media and artificial intelligence, right?
Yes.
Because of that too, like where there's a gap in our real human experience. I'm on a beautiful forum of incredibly high academic AI investigators, and they actually bought my book at the Mind, Body and Spirit Festival and called me in to talk about the Anana system for this world that is actually being
birthed,
taken over by AI and will be. And how is it, how can I contribute to help people have a meditation practice that's going to be organic? What if everything stops? Well, Y2K didn't happen, right? But what if everything stops? Then what are we going to do? Chop wood, carry water. And we're going to be our brains are going to be like so on overload. How are we even going to be able to organically find our connection with the divine? Because we're so used to having to plug in or put our earpads in or something. And it's to go back. I mean, we can.
I'm so glad I asked that question, because that's what was like. It's so important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you could reference something that you remember, but to actually embody it and understand it. Yeah.
Yeah. It really is about embodiment more than anything.
That's right. That's the word that came through to me, embody.
Yeah. And because what it's also doing is actually making us move into total commitment, vigilance, discipline, conviction. It's like, how much do you want to be free? How much do you want to be free from this chaotic, insane world? How much do you truly want to remember and embody and sustain and maintain and be fully whole as this beautiful being of light? How can I do that? You want to be able to be so deeply surrendered in your heart and want that as much as you want your next breath. So awakening occurs through that, such deep surrender, humility. It's like, stop everything else and move into your Shalu, move into alignment, and do it every day, not just every second or third day, or not when you get to your meditation group, or not when you put your headphones on. Every day. And what happens with the Anana system, it actually, so like meditation, it's a practice of awareness, a transcendental practice, which means it actually takes us same as what Joe's
does,
work does. And it actually is a practice that will take us step by step inwardly through our own
channels, or
our own commentary, like it's our own self, our own channels.
Yeah.
And we're not needing any other way to make this happen. So I've gone and had the EEG done.
Yes.
And I've sat for 3 hours as well, getting the practice all measured. And at the end of it, my brain waves went from normal, alpha, theta. But when I got to, so there's four stages in this. So it's the first stage of the Anana system is our self as human embodiment and the essence of our being, that is joy, it is love, it is compassion, and it is this humbling gratitude for life. So that's the first level. The second level then moves us into our cosmic consciousness, our connection with the cosmos. The next level takes us into our self as a light being. And then the fourth level is into our unified consciousness, God essence, right? Primordial being. So what it does is...
Which is union, which is coming into union.
Yeah. Coming into union. So what it does, it transcends the limitations of each dimension until we're just free. And you can get there like that. So what you were seeing was my brainwaves were able to go into gamma like that. Was really quick. And I could go, okay, let's start. And you'd see my brainwave activities here, and then it'd go straight to the back of my head, and my brainwave's in gamma. And she said to me, oh, Rob, I'd love to do some more research with you. And I said, well, that'd be cool, because I've got retreats. I run retreats where we all come together and we practice together. And of course, when she told me how much that was going to cost, I just went, no, it's not going to happen. It's the fun. I'll see if I can get some funding for this. That'd be cool. She said, because what I saw was your brain waves were about to go into epsilon and the next brain wave beyond gamma. And she said, I know without doubt that if you would have gone in longer, that's where your brain waves would have gone, which is the unified field of...
Yes, oneness.
Oneness. So it was there with the gamma measured. And although, there's millions of measurements done, Dr. Joe, Buddhist monks, it's been happening for forever. I just wanted to get my own proof, and so...
So good.
So this is a practice that just actually brings you into alignment every day, all the time. And when you get back and what it does, it's sort of like it creates the moment for the rest of your day. So you get up in the morning, you're running around looking after the kids, doing what you got to do, making breakfast, and the greatest thing is to either do it before you wake up, of course, just for 10 minutes if that's what you've got, or then after.
So in bed before you, like at sunrise or something, before you get busy as a mother or go to work or get on your iPhone and check your emails.
As Joe talks about, or just be conscious that it's a little bit like it's part of your daily routine. Brush teeth, get dressed, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes in Ana meditation. And you've just got to sit and you move back through these postures. They're called postures. So they're inner asanas. So you move back into these inner asanas, these postures, and then it's like you open your eyes and go, that's right. That's the truth of who I am.
Oh.
Now, then what's happening, of course, because we're moving ourselves back into alignment, we're dropping pebbles into our field of consciousness, into the quantum field.
Possibilities and miracles.
And then just miracles just keep on coming and coming. You no longer kind of need stuff. You're not looking for the stuff that used to fill your life up to try to get the joy and the happiness. It's like, here it is. It's here. Don't need nothing. There's nothing I have to get anywhere. It's already already always available, always here. So that's actually, I think that covered, that's why. So meditation, imperative. Conviction, imperative. Not just a meditation that you just do every other day because it relaxes you. It's like, you've got to do this, just like brushing your teeth. And, oh, my God, I brushed my teeth, but I haven't sat with the Anana system for 10 minutes. It's brilliant, brilliant. And it's life-changing. It's game-changing, you know. And the responses, the feedback and the references and the testimonies I get from all those people that have taken part in it is just brilliant. And there's some really amazing committed participants that are doing this. And so this is ongoing. So I'm on Zoom. I do Zoom around the world. Okay, so
so let's tell the listeners how they can connect with you and what you've got happening at the moment. Yeah.
So it's already gone international.
Because we've been talking for an hour and 11 minutes, 111. Full circle from what we just started with. Yeah. So let's, tell the listeners.
Thanks to the beautiful spirit of COVID, I had to stop and publish, and I had to oh my God, my students said to me, what are we going to do? Like, we can't do retreats or, Zooms. And it's like, I wasn't doing Zooms. And then how are we going to get it out? So I actually, in that time, put it up on an online program. So, and it went international. So I had some incredible people that jumped on board from America and all around the world. And so that was like, this is happening now.
Yeah.
So
silver lining in that experience, isn't it?
Yeah. It's one of these books that you're going to put on the back in your bookcase.
Yeah.
But it's just a business card, because the true healing, the true work that's done is committing to it. Committing to it. So I do have there is a the whole book is in a program with the recording so that you can read it and listen to it. So it's not an audible book, but the meditations that go with the practices is on so you can kind of you can get the ebook download, or you can buy the soft cover book, but then you can go in online and you can listen to the download, so you get that sense of participation.
Okay.
The retreats are profound always, because the retreats you're immersed, you're not getting up and losing
and group energy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have my website. I don't know if you want to link it here, but it's robyncollins.info, ROBYNCOLLINS. So robyncollins.info. And it's just that, and actually right now that's just being remade, so people go on, they won't get it straight.
I was going to ask you that off air. Okay, great. Yeah. It's just been worked on.
It's in the process of getting rebuilt. So, but it will be up soon.
But you're on socials.
Yeah, all my socials. Yeah, on Facebook, Instagram. I don't use Instagram a lot, but the book you can buy on Lulu. So if it's Googled, you can Google the Anana system, and it will come up through Lulu, or you can buy the ebook, the hard copy, and it'll also come up with the course, which is through an organization called Yes Course. So you can go in there and also buy the sound files and everything. And retreats, I just have weekend retreats here on the Central Coast, but I do a Bali every year as well. So we do more of a deeper immersion into the awakening process and the meditation. So I have a retreat coming up.
And do you bring musicians into the Bali one?
Not unless they're there.
Yeah. No, I just thought I'd ask.
Because I've been luckily I've been there, and Kevin's been there in Bali, and he's come in and done a circle for us. And
and he's doing wonderful now.
Bali's up either in July or October. Yes, I spoke to Kev. He's coming back soon, which is awesome. And it's the week long is an opportunity to dive more into the philosophy. So the timeless wisdom, it's the pillars, the timeless wisdom, the practice, the meditation, I help with some trauma work and psychotherapeutic approaches.
Mm.
And then, of course, we do chanting and lots of dance and lots of playfulness and lots of fun and all that sort of stuff.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
So,
KD is actually in Bali when I'm there, and I'm in Bali in 2 weeks. I go to Bali, and
KD, for the listeners, is Krishna Das, and he's coming over to Australia to be part of OmFest,
yes,
and then he's touring Australia in November.
yes.
So
he
yeah.
happens to be in Bali the same week that I'm in Bali.
Okay, well, let's get him involved.
I already have all of my tickets ready. So I get to get it. Yeah, I was really lucky because I thought, oh my God, I'm going to miss out on his visit here in Sydney. But it was like, no, thank you.
Catch him in Bali.
Just happens to be there the same week I'm there, so that's really cool. And then I fly back, and then I fly back to Israel again on the 26th of this month. So I'm going to get back to when I get back to Israel. I'm really excited because that's where the Inanna system came through.
Yes.
And so anything could happen. Watch this space.
Watch this space. OneSpaceLove. I finish up. I feel like we've already touched on this answer, but I like to finish up asking the guests, can you explain what is love to you?
Love is, because love comes with a lot of conditioning and, who being loved or giving love or getting love. It's all about the I love or you love me. So the love that we know on this relative reality, this third dimensional
3D,
reality, is very self-egocentrically centered. It's about I, me, it, them, right? And then we have the higher realms of love when we connect to our healing light work, so that we get that sense of elevation, and we just know that there's something, the mysterious love. And that's the mystical love that touched my heart when I did Reiki, and the unknown, and being that rebel that was like, I want proof of everything. And so there is that love from the subtle spiritual dimensions. Now, how I know love to be in every moment is this void, this emptiness, this timeless, eternal ocean of bliss, grace. It is so what happened is, with these states that I was being taught back in 1997, 94, was this ground of being. So I found myself in the cosmos. I was the universal mind. I was like, I'm it. There was no me anymore. The me was in bed asleep on the earth. My consciousness was definitely completely in this cosmic consciousness. And I knew I was in bed down on the earth. And then when I moved through the other states and stages of consciousness, through the light, and then into the unified field of oneness, what there was, I found myself totally dissolved. There was no more me, no object. There was just this field of awareness. And I remember when I got to this void, going, it was weird, but oh my God, like, this is it. This is it. This is everything I've been searching for. And it was like the voice, the silent voice, this knowing was like, yes, everything you've been searching for to get here, it's not it. This is it. And this is silent emptiness. And it was a palpable piece. It was so profound that it was just you know, it's hard to explain what it's like when you're in this place, but it's just like the peace. I'm hearing Jeshua, the peace that passeth beyond all understanding, right? So that's what it is. It's the peace that transcends the minds, even the minds trying to understand what this is. It's like it in the spirit realm. When you also meet spirit, your loved ones who have crossed over, speaking with the masters or the angels or any sort of spiritual deities, the love that you feel in the dimension of light is like 100 times more wow. Like the love is the love that you have for your children and your loved ones on this earth. When you actually move into the field of consciousness of light, you still feel this incredible, like 1,000, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. The light and the love there is ridiculous. It's so your love you have for your, like, just amplify that, right? And it's amazing. So beautiful. Then, but the primordial womb, the primordial ground itself, it is peace. So we've got Shiva, peace, ground of being, primordial being. And then from the movement from this infinite field of peace is the light, Shakti, the movement from this ground of peaceful being. So how I see what love is love is the moving action. It is the Shakti. So the deepest you can go into the silent emptiness, into the void, into the abyss, into the primordial being, is like resting deep. Hence why meditation is so important. Resting in that knowing of being, of that infinite timeless void. And then the movement, the light, the Shakti, the movement, the Big Bang, that's the love. That's the loving movement. So love is the moving, the wave that rises from the ocean of peace. Love is the moving action. Therefore, everything is love. Everything. So next time when you get anywhere, like look at everything, see the light in everything, the light and love, the love that has been given birth, like we give birth to our children from our own womb, we give birth from love to as a loving gift to itself. And it's the same as understanding that that's the same as it's like being the mind of the divine. Like everything is a gift and a giving of love, and everything we do, like this, what you're doing is as a gift of love.
It is.
You know, so the communication of love and the pointing to the divine, however that being, has been going on forever. Now the computer is a representative of that evolutionary process. And so all the minds that go into making the computer that you're sitting in front of has come from love, because every person that has created that computer has worked hard to make it happen so that they are receive the funds to go home and to feed their family, or to feed themselves and to love themselves and to love their family. So even when we're working, everything is in an ongoing flow of love. This pen, like, you know, the people that work hard in the factories to make the pen, where did the ink come from? Where did the color come from? What mind did this come from? So that we could receive something that makes the world an easier place to live in, because we are here, as Neil Donald Walsh says, to be a greater, grander, more magnificent expression of love upon this earth. Right? And even all the minds that come together to make this pen, all have done it from love.
Love.
because they will receive their paycheck and they'll go home and they'll feed their loved ones or they'll feed themselves. It's like love is continuously, this is love. This is love. Everything is love. So when we can start seeing that everything not only is made of love out of the light of the birthing from the Shakti, from the Shiva, this movement of love, not only is it that, but everything is made from the light of creation, and we are an evolutionary process. We are that divine mind, that intelligent, unified mind. We are paying that love forward, and we are evolving, feeding it back, looping it back into the universal mind of infinite intelligence. And we're getting better and better and better at it, so that more love is made visible upon this earth, however it be. Oh, did that answer your question?
Oh, did it ever? I could talk to you for hours.
Yes.
Let's have you back on. I would love to continue this chat. Maybe when you get back from your travel, we can have you back on.
That would be awesome. Yeah, it'd be lovely, even if even here, if there's anyone who watches this, and you can, they can email you and ask questions, and we can have
dive
a
deeper. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and we can get
dialogue and feedback with some questions and answers. That'd be
amazing. Thank you so much, Robin. Shantari, thank you so much, also known as Robin Collins, if you want to look her up on social media. But Shantari, thank you for joining me on the OneSpaceLove show.
Thank you, sister. I love you. I'm so glad we met just sitting next to each other. And here we still are.
Thank you.
OneSpaceLove.